every single copy of Arena magazine, Machine World, which I believe is episode 3 or edition number 3, issue
Yeah.
3. Uh,
Issue 003.
003 comes with a an Anduril poster, the grind that'll win.
That's
I
great.
love it.
That's a great insert.
Very nice insert.
Thank you for making print
Thank you.
cool
Yes,
again.
yes, we're huge on printing. Our brother printer is working overtime. You clearly have a much nicer printer than we do.
Yeah, we don't have much color.
Yeah. Mostly black and white. But how are you doing, Max?
Doing great. How are you?
Fantastic. How has the reception to 003 been? Can you give us a little bit of overview on what you're building within Arena, what your vision was for Machine World, and maybe one of the articles in here that you were the most fond of?
Well, I had a very funny moment when I was walking on the streets in San Francisco last week and just saw the poster that we put in the front cover just in someone's office, just
That's
laying
awesome.
around basically. And then I got a direct message from one of the subscribers who's like an accountant somewhere in Florida who had had to frame it. He wanted to show me the picture of framing the poster.
That's great.
And so this one was very fun. It was the first magazine in which I did not personally contribute an article, actually.
Wow.
But that sort of speaks to the level of very fine submissions that we received. My favorite one is called "Who Wants to Work in a Factory?"
Yeah.
And we actually had our friend Alder Riley respond to a @Luke_Metro tweet
We
that
saw
said,
yes.
everyone wants to expand industrial capacity, but no one wants to work in a factory.
I love it.
And so, Alder does 3D printers and does a lot of this stuff in the heartland. And so it's a subject that's very appealing to me. And he talks about the sort of wonder in the eyes of the kids that get to see all this tech stuff. And his big thing, they actually do want to work in the factory. The children yearn for it.
For the mind.
It's just
yes.
it's the opportunity has been sort of taken away over
Totally.
the course of many generations.
Totally. I remember an Onion article from years ago that was joking that job satisfaction among crane operators was at an all-time high because you just wake up, you go, and it's very tactile. You're moving things around, and it's a joke, but it's also probably very true. My question is, obviously, you monitor, I think, tech culture very, very closely. I want to know, it feels like, obviously, there's been this massive vibe shift. Have we won? Do we need to be cautious about resting on our laurels now? Or is there still so much work to do because we truly have not reshored manufacturing?
Job's not finished.
Job's not finished. What's your take?
Yeah, I don't think that anyone should ever assume that they've won the American culture. There remains a lot of anti-tech sentiment.
Sure.
Much of it with reason. The whole Arena project is sort of trying to synthesize the tech culture with the broader American culture. And there are ways in which these two things are sometimes at odds. I think that like 2010s tech largely at odds with the American culture. Google saying, no, we don't want to work with the military, but it's
Sure.
it's fine to work with the Chinese military. I think it's always incumbent on the tech world to clearly explain the the benefits of this system to the broader nation. Just because it's here, it can't be sort of reconstructed somewhere else.
I've always been fascinated by you as a figure because on the one hand, like you work deeply in technology, you're at a venture capital firm, you're deeply ingrained in the tech world and the techno optimist world, but at the same time, you're building a shed on like a random land.
You took building in public to a new level by just building this extravagant. I don't even think we can call it a shed. What is it? It's a structure.
Structure. Break down what you're building and like why and how that fits into the tech narrative that you're building.
Yeah, so I have an off-grid cabin, and I'm building like a big steel building that where I'll put my Starlink. But the off-grid cabin is very rustic. At one point, I tweeted out a picture of my typewriter and my oil lamps, and I was like, "This is where I write techno propaganda from." Inside an off-grid cabin with a little solar battery and a Starlink. I think that. Yeah, I've been sort of nursing this concept of like techno Luddism, where we can encourage technology broadly, but we don't have to
adopt
we don't have to give everyone like a internet connected toaster or whatnot. We can rebel against the little elements, and really the beautiful thing about technology is that it can give us our time back. It makes the whole economy more productive. It raises wealth standards for the everyman, and I think that that's something that's always good to keep in mind. I just happen to also, have a very strong connection to Iowa where I grew up and love to spend the summer on my property up there.
How many undiscovered Luke Ferradors are there in the world? I think it's an amazing story of just in general. You split time between Austin, which is sort of maybe a destination for people like Luke, but you also spend time in Iowa, where I imagine that there are undiscovered people like that. What's your read on kind of American untapped potential broadly?
Well, I mean, the legacy of the big Midwestern research universities is really amazing. You have, the University of Nebraska, Purdue, Iowa State, University of Minnesota. I mean, they invent stuff all the time. They're massive enterprises, and there are tons of super talented people that are in them. And basically, one of the issues is that there's probably just some like talent misallocation that goes on based on the types of businesses that are the most competitive hirers in those states. But I think that the very good news is that the internet has totally surfaced a lot of the Luke Ferriter types to the rest of the world. Um, yeah, it's on the order of tens of thousands in the Midwestern U.S. I think that are.
Oh, let's
But
go.
that I mean that's
Hit
sort
the
of
size gong for that.
you go one rung below Luke, then you get hundreds of thousands. Luke
Yeah.
is A plus plus.
Yeah.
Totally.
Do you see, is that all a focus for you of sort of talent discovery? You obviously spend time at 8VC. You're sort of, I imagine, splitting time between Arena and 8. Is that something that you feel is part of your mission, is to try to get those people to work on problems that you find important?
Yeah, I got a great email from a subscriber just the other day that I shared with his permission on X, and he said, he's a consultant doing local consulting in Houston, Texas, and he said that he was feeling really down about the way that Doge was being portrayed, and he'd always wanted to do something in manufacturing. And he said that he opened up Arena Magazine and it gave him some inspiration and he's thinking about doing it. And I said, let us know if we can help with your pivot. So yes, like the cardinal goal of doing this crazy print publication is to mind infect people to work on the right things, the cool things, the pro-America things. And I think that that is also a core duty of, it's not just media people. I think that the venture capitalists are also trying to mind infect founders and engineers to work on the right things as well.
Yeah.
There's this idea of a silver tsunami. It's been sort of memed to death at this point. This idea that there's all these people running sort of important small businesses and manufacturing companies and widget companies here in the U.S. and they're retiring. And the MBA's figured that out and just said, these are our companies. Like, that's my $5 million EBITDA, manufacturing business. Like, I'm going to take it over. Who's the right people to take it over? Is there an opportunity that for Silicon Valley to sort of participate in that and sort of, bring sort of more like the idea, some of the robotic stuff that you're seeing at Y Combinator and bring that to the heartland? Or is it an opportunity for everybody?
Well, I think it's an opportunity for the business owners that have been doing real things for all these decades to secure the bag. And there's, you sort of love the wealth transfer going on of selling these, $5 million EBITDA businesses. I don't know, 10x EBITDA starting offer to the MBA. I think it's great. I think I dislike the meme of it where like it's like we're all going to take these things over and it's actually not that hard to run these businesses. There's the very famous John Collison tweet where he's, the world is a museum of passion projects, and like every little thing is like that. But one hopes that there are like some interesting ways to integrate AI into these things. But I'm also sort of a believer in the like, you know, Octavian choosing his successor, the street boy from Rome. And I think that you're going to see a lot of these situations where, where
sense.
someone talented will find a mentee who will take it over. And that you may actually see a trend of just outright transferring these businesses
Yeah,
This
the
is
seller
a very
note
European thing,
concept.
actually, but I think it could happen.
Yeah, it's great if a business owner's run something for 30 years and they can sell the business for $10 million and buy a boat and a lake house and sort of sail off into the sunset. But at
Yeah.
the same time, giving transferring the business, not a direct transfer, but sort of creating a something like a seller note that allows them to take it over and get continue to be paid out for what they built. I think is
Yeah,
great.
exactly.
Yeah. I want to go to self-driving cars. There's an article in here, What a World of Self-Driving Cars Might Be Like, by Andrew Miller. And I want to talk about the aesthetics of self-driving cars. I found it very striking when Tesla announced the Cybercab, how different the design was to the Waymos, which are these kind of knobby, bumpy Jaguars. And Elon, announced the future should look like the future. What is your platonic ideal of a self-driving car look like?
Well, I think that eventually you're going to see a diversification based on consumer choice, which is what happened with regular cars. So I don't have a platonic ideal myself. I want the people to decide.
You don't want to be
As for
carried
the
on
like,
a livery by 4 humanoids?
As for the future should look like the future, I agree with that. And one of our big things with Arena is that like the futuristic aesthetic is better by just relying on the stuff that already exists, basically. That's why I admire the design of the Cybercab. It's not that different from what their actual cars look like. And so the key thing there is that it doesn't seem so far off and ridiculous. I'm in favor of the Jetsons stuff as well, but only if it can actually be done. And what I worry about is like lying to people about like what it's going to look like, because it's not going to be all cyberpunk.
Sure.
I'd like a autonomous horse and buggy personally, with a
Well,
humanoid,
my farm is 10 miles down the road from the largest Amish settlement west of the Mississippi, and so I drive past the horse and buggies all the time. There are horse parking lots. That might be a big thing. Techno-Luddism.
Yes.
Maybe the Founders Fund office, maybe the ATC office will need like a horse post for the techno-Luddites to show up.
Yeah. There's nothing better I can imagine than just riding a horse with a Starlink on it.
Yeah.
That's the best. That's the dream.
Yeah, with an
Starlink.
optimist that's actually sort of like guiding the horses for you.
Exactly.
So you can sit in the back and it's fully autonomous.
Well, this is fantastic, Max. Thanks so much. We'll have to have you on back soon. Congratulations on the launch of Arena. It's a fantastic magazine. Everyone should go subscribe it. Where can they find it? What's the URL?
Arenamag.com.
Arenamag.com. Thanks for stopping by. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Max. Great to see you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Cheers.